Hello guys, welcome back. I had many thoughts in the time since I've last played this. It's been a few days, and also I realized that my mic was really close to my mouth in the last few episodes, so I apologize, or in the last play session. I'll probably be splitting it up into multiple episodes. So I apologize for that. I've moved it further away from my mouth now. So sorry if I was really loud. I might try and adjust my volume down a bit, but it'll probably be clipping. But now hopefully it should be a bit quieter and I can play with the volume of it after. Now I did make it a separate audio track, so yeah. But I had many thoughts on this game while I was away, and it's so many, in fact, that I don't even know. I can't even necessarily recall all of them right now. But I'm going to start with this. The very first thing that I'm going to do, I assume I can go back through this portal. Hold on. Is there a button to activate it? Or can I just go back through? This is the portal. Okay, how do I turn this back on? Oh no, maybe I'm stuck here. I was able to go back through all the other ones. Am I actually stuck here? I was gonna say that the very first thing I wanted to do was go back to the secret office and just kind of note down things more thoroughly. But maybe I can't. Oh wait, there's a button right here. I'm dumb. Yeah, the very first thing that I want to do is I want to go back to this secret office, and just note down more things while I'm there. You know, because I sort of just need to take in everything that's there. There's so much there, and I didn't, really note down that much when I was there, but I'm starting to think I should have. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I was thinking about, I believe it's the red triangle to go back there. I was thinking about, also there's this building here. I'll come back to it. Oh, that's the Lodvik Tower. Yeah. Okay, this is important. But I don't want to get distracted. But, yeah, this game is just, it's overwhelming. So I was thinking about how the writing for this game, it's very, fantasy writing. Like, it sounds strange, because it's obviously a sci-fi game, like, it's set in the future. But it's, it's very, very much a fantasy novel disguised as a sci-fi video game. It's very Lord of the Rings in the sense that there are all these places that exist, and at first, they're just names, right? But then as you actually get to go there, you get to go there throughout the course of the game, and they become tangible in that way. I was gonna say, it's kind of a little bit over the top sometimes, with the obvious example that I can think of being the Binoxi Eye Portals. Like, nobody would actually call them the Binoxi Eye Portals. They would just start calling them Eye Portals, colloquially, and the Binoxi would just be dropped realistically. Like, nobody would call them that long of a name all the time. But then, it kind of got me to thinking, that must mean that, the writer really wanted us to be aware that those are specifically Binoxi eye portals. So I guess, that's the name of the group of people that made those portals. But then, it kind of made me think, well, is it really a group of people that made those, right? Is that their name? Because, or is it a group of people really? Because didn't Smallocks described them as screeching in his letter to Vamir. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe they're like a creature or an animal. And then I realized, well, maybe those are actually the dragons. Like the sculptures that are on the wall. Like, we saw somewhere, I forget where, there's so many places, but we saw a sculpture of a... I think it's quicker to go through here. We saw a sculpture of a dragon coming out of the wall of a building. And maybe that's what they call the dragons. They call them the Binoxi. Which lines up with Smollox's description of them screeching and flying, right? I believe that's how Smollox described them. So, if that is the case, and I'm right about that, maybe the Binoxi eye portals actually, maybe they are made out of the eyes of those dragons. Like, maybe that's the actual size of their eyes, and that, that would mean they are, gigantic, but that makes sense because they're dragons, That gives you some scale, right? Their eyes are large enough that we can, walk through them. It would also explain why they want to develop so many different portal technologies, because I'm imagining that getting those eyes would be difficult. I haven't seen any dragons around, so maybe they are in short supply of these portals, and they would want to develop more, like the Pelska portal. Oh, yeah, and that's the other thing. So, with the Pelska portal, it made me think, so Mason just kind of killed himself at the beginning of this game. He just exploded. But it made me think, maybe he actually faked his own death. Because he was Vamir's assistant, so he would have probably known about these Pelska portals, which can be used from, as long as there's an active, what is it called, an active zone in that area, which maybe he could have installed. So if there's an active zone there by that transporter, maybe he could have teleported out of it before it blew up. I keep thinking this, I keep thinking about this plot point, because Vamir's reaction to his assistant and valued volunteer dying seemed very nonchalant, and I'm assuming that's not just bad acting, it seemed to be written that way. So I have to imagine that, maybe he was aware that, maybe this was the plan from the beginning, that he had to fake his death for some reason, maybe to make Smollox less suspicious? I don't know. Oh yeah, also on the, the Binoxi are the dragons. Another point for that is that in the single sketch we have of Oluj, I believe there is a dragon as well, which checks out because Smollox likes Oluj, from what we know. And so, and Smollox also is talking about the Binoxi, and so it makes sense, right? That's those things are linked together. Yeah, that sketch is very weird. Almost like, it almost makes me think like it's just very otherworldly, almost like something that would be described in like the Book of Revelations. Like, I don't even know how to really describe it. It's just, you don't really even know how to describe what you're looking at, Yeah, I felt like I needed to come back here just to review all the notes. Obviously, I know I have Vamir's journal on me, but there's just so many notes just scattered kind of around here that I want to write down more of, just like a point form format on my paper. I'm obviously not going to sketch out everything. Oh yeah, this dome. Okay, the dome. Right. This was another thing. I've been thinking about this game so much. So there was this one portal we went through where we went to this dome, and there was like nothing to do there. Like there was no, there were no inventory items that we could use there, and nothing seemed to be interactable. I get it now. I think this is the Riven rotating room puzzle all over again, right? We're gonna have to rotate this dome. We're gonna have to figure out how to rotate it, which I still don't know how we're going to, because isn't it based on time, and that doesn't really seem to be like a concept in this game. Like, I don't know how we would advance time by 2 hours in this game, what that even would translate to doing, right? But I think we're gonna have to rotate this dome, right? And then once we rotate it, then we will be able to do something there, right? Because it will have opened up something on that screen. And that's why, you know, I walked over there and I was like, nothing is interactive, like what's even the point of this area? But it's because I have to do something, you know, outside first. I have to do something somewhere else, and then I need to have the presence of mind to go back that way and walk through there, right? The other thing is, I remember in Vamir's journal, I believe, he mentioned an elevator with a broken button, and that's probably where I was, right? Because I did observe that there was an elevator, and there was like a thing that looked like it would activate it, like a button. I could zoom in on it, but it didn't do anything. So maybe we'll find a button to put there, right? I don't know. I don't know how, but it didn't show like I could use an inventory item there is the thing. So I don't think there is. I don't think we're going to get that. Anyway, so just kind of looking this over. Yeah. So the most important thing on this paper, I think, is the rotatory system. And I'm just going to kind of copy that down. I'm assuming this is important, even though I don't know how we would advance time. You know, are we going to, like... They did mention, like, sensors on this building, right? Like, maybe we need to fool the sensors into believing it's a later time of day. I don't know. If I were in this situation for real, I would probably just wait this amount of time. But I can't imagine that the amount of time I've played the game is actually going to be a factor in this. So I'm just writing this down. Top layer. I should say, by the way, I have not looked at any hint guide or any outside information for this game whatsoever. So all of my conjecture here is just my theories, and I could be completely wrong about any of it. You know, I could be totally wrong about the thing where the Benoxi are the dragons, right? But I do think it probably is kind of the, you know, right now, assuming that's true, I think it's probably kind of like the work of this game, where it's an important animal, and nobody really needs to explicitly explain to you, you know, the importance of them, because it's just known to all the characters, right? So that's probably what's going on there. That's my theory right now, you know. But I could be completely wrong about that. Interesting that these connect to Oloj as well. Okay, is there any important information, or important looking information on here, I mean? I think the most important thing on this screen is just that we need Lavendis crystals for the gun tower. So I'm going to write that. I don't even know where I'm going to write this. I might need a new sheet of paper. I'm going to squeeze it into this corner. Secret office notes. This can just be a single note. Gun tower requires Lavendis crystal. At this point, I'm assuming this is an actual place we're going to have to go and do something at, because that seems to be how this game is going. All of these places that it is defining are places that we can actually go, and probably need to do something at. Dome sun vents. Plants. Oh yeah, there was an update I got just before starting the game, which is appreciated. You know, it would be. I understand that after working on a game for so long, it's exhausting to then need to update it even after it's public. But I'm curious, did they fix this? No, they didn't fix this. This is still wrong. It says top layer for both of these. Yeah, so I can't really trust the clear text, unfortunately. So this might be relevant to how to fool the tower into thinking that it's a different time of day, right? If we block one of these sun vents, maybe it thinks, you know, it's nighttime. But I haven't seen any of these sun vents directly. And really, that's the only thing, you know, I'm imagining if I see one of these sun vents, I can interact with it, and I'm meant to interact with them in some way, I'll be able to. So, you know, all that really tells me is there are sun vents, which is not even something that I think is noteworthy to write down. This Kula Peita is so unrelated to what I'm doing right now that I almost don't know what would even be relevant to write about this, so I'm not going to. Oh yeah, this is the sketch I was describing before of Aldo J. And yeah, see, there's a dragon there. So I think those are probably the Binoxi. Oh, yeah, there's more around there. You can see what I mean, right, about it just being kind of otherworldly, and you almost can't tell, like, what it is that you're looking at there. Especially the eye. I think it's the eye that does it. This is still, something that, you know, I have to find a way... Oh, hold on. Oh, I can pick up the salt. Okay, it's literally that easy. There's salt right there. Okay, so that salt is older. I thought I had to do something crazy with that salt machine. I didn't realize it was going to be literally right next to the note. That's not very secure. The Mahili portal pump. Man, I'm glad I came back here now. If my means of traveling to the Fezaltian temple from the... Okay, Fezaltian temple is one of the things that he mentioned in his video transmission to me. If my means of traveling to the Fezaltian temple from the Mahili portal were severed, I'm not sure how easy it would be to get back there. And if Smollax discovered what lay beyond the temple's high walls, and the blue glowing mass of the gigantic Pelorian flowers, the Fezaltian machine must remain hidden. I've devised a new holster for keeping the detachable pump pipeline stable. Bleh, I cannot read this. I have devised a new holster for keeping the detachable pump pipeline stable while the Mahili portal tank is either being drained or filled. Unfortunately, any further developments have come to a grinding halt, but I'm sure both myself and Ernter will successfully strengthen what is already a powerful lifeline to the heart of Fezalta. Okay, what is the important information here? So there's this. This is obviously relevant to what I have to do, because he said in his video transmission, Fezaltian temple. That's one of the terms that he used. So we have to find this Mahili portal. So another note. Mahili portal leads... cross that out. I didn't spell that correctly. Leads to... Fezaltian machine. Underline on Fezaltian machine, so I remember it's important. So we have to find this Mahili portal, whatever that is. And I'm assuming this T and I shape is also relevant. Not quite sure the relevance, but I will draw that out. So I'm going to put Fezaltian machine. As far as I understand, this T and I here, right here that I'm mousing over, is sort of an icon or something to look out for that signals the existence of this Fezaltian machine. So Fezaltian machine equals TI. Is what I'm going to call it anyway. Oh yeah, I was kind of thinking, again, another thought, just another theory on top of the pile of theories. I wonder if I am a Fezaltian in this story. Because it would be a reasonable thing to assume, right? Mason, as far as I understand, was summoned here the same way, through like the same kind of portal that I came through, and he is heavily implied to be a Fezaltian, right? That came from this Quilivian place, right? So maybe I am also a Fezaltian. Which makes me wonder, maybe he... I don't think the story is actually going this way, but this is just a random theory. Like, what if Vamir is just summoning people just here, just like on a cycle, and then whenever anyone like disobeys his instructions or doesn't choose to do what he says to do, then he just summons someone else, right? Maybe that's what went on with Mason. He suspected that Mason was going to betray him, and so he like turned off the portal that was there, so that when Mason tried to go to Olajay, he couldn't get through and he blew up. And Vamir, again, it would explain his nonchalant reaction of just like, oh, that's too bad, which, is that the reaction that he would have to me dying? It would be kind of insulting if that's the reaction he'd have to me dying. But could that be what's happening, is that I'm just the replacement for Mason, because Mason was supposed to follow his instructions, but he suspected that Mason was not loyal. I don't know. Could be. But I kind of doubt it. I kind of feel like the game is not going in that direction. Yeah, this we've already dealt with, and the only note of value on here is that salt that is older is better for... It works better for hidden notes, which I've already, I've just figured out now, so not relevant. Okay, so we have this desk, and we have Smollox's letter here, right? The writing of all these characters, they all look kind of similar. They are a different font, which I appreciate. But I almost feel like Smollox, he strikes me as, very authoritarian, very official. He likes to put his icon on everything, even like he rubber stamps his icon on all these letters. Almost makes me think that he should be like writing this with like a typewriter. Like this should be like, a monospace courier font. Like tell me that you can't imagine that, right? Just like everybody else is stuck with pencils, and he gets to write this with a typewriter, up in the tower that he lives in, wherever that is. Kind of gives me that impression, kind of gives me that vibe. I don't know. Smollox, from what very little that I know about him, he strikes me as very like Vladimir Putin type of character, where he is obsessed with the betrayal, quote unquote betrayal of a particular nation, and is making it the rest of the world's problem. And the game is trying to play up this angle of, Vamir is just as bad as Smollox, and I'm really not buying that at all. Like, usually the way it goes in these stories is that the little guy, the resistance, they're the good guy, right? and it's very much, leaning. It seems to be leaning that direction of Vamir and his, little team that he has is the resistance, is the minority, right? That's the underdog that's rising up against power, which is a really, it's an old trope, right? It's been done for forever, right? Kind of a tired angle, honestly. Like, I think it would be a more interesting story angle if maybe like Smallocks knew something that everybody else didn't, right? And but for some reason, for some good reason, it cannot be revealed to the public, and so he's actually using his power for good. But of course, everybody else is questioning the authority. But I don't think that this story is going to go that way. I think this is going to go in the direction of, Vamir and his vocal, is it a minority? Is it majority? Can't really tell. Obviously I'm biased because the majority of notes that I've seen are from Vamir and his group, right? So I don't know how big of an effort this is, how popular his opinion is. But, certainly, a vocal group is going to be the good guys of the story, or at least, it's going to get me the canonical good ending, right? Now, obviously, I don't know any details about what this betrayal involved, right? So maybe, if I did know more details, I would have different opinions of these guys, but I don't. Like, I know no information about what went down. So, yeah, see, he says their wings. So that, again, their wings, their shrieks, he's describing dragons. These are dragons. Okay, this is a good note. So the gun tower, we know, requires a Lavandis crystal, and there is a Lavandis crystal positioned around the Fleetsuzel dome. So maybe we could grab one from there and bring it to the gun tower. So I'm going to note down, because, inventory is a thing in this game. So I'm going to note down blue Lavandis crystal exists at dome. Alright? And I'll definitely know which dome that is. Right now, I don't really have a reason to go to this Ronalda temple. I don't even know what's up with it. This might be useful information to know if I ever do want to go there, that there are these bracelets that can teleport you there, but right now, I do not have a reason to go there at all, so I do not know why I would want them. Yeah, and he's apparently taken that bracelet, because he said there was one with the letter, but there was one attached with that letter, but I don't see a bracelet here. Nothing on this screen. Okay. And then there are these notes down here. Oh yes, the spare keys. There was somewhere else I could use them, right? Wasn't there? I think, was it on that weird contraption, the, water dispensing contraption that I used to open the secret tunnel to the Payita factory? Might be. I'm gonna double check that. I'm gonna go there right now. I'll do that next. So basically, in terms of goals, in terms of places I want to explore right now, the highest priority place that I want to go, after I check this specific contraption I have in mind, I want to go to the Pinorvia Point first and foremost. Assuming that we don't immediately get roadblocked there, and which is possible, right? But if we can explore there, I want to go there because there is an obvious thing that we can learn there, which is the number system, the constellation numbering system. So that's just the, it's going to have obvious benefits to know that. So knowing that that's there, that is the number one thing that I want to do. And then beyond that, the Glorfiak mines could be interesting to explore, but I don't really have a specific reason right now. Oh, this is open. Okay. Right now, I don't really have a specific reason for going there. You know, aside from that, the game subtly pushed me in the direction of exploring those mines by, you know, having me briefly spawn into that area at the very beginning of the game. Oh yeah, so the Glorfiak mines. So this didn't really register to me at first, but maybe the Glorfiak is the name of the material that they mine in those mines. Because think about it, right? Like, if you have a mine where you mine coal, what do you call it? You call it a coal mine, right? And so, like, maybe the Glorfiak mines, maybe Goler is the material that they mine there, which we've seen referred to at least once, right? As a thing. We've seen it called Goler, and I'm also just noticing now this is also the shape of a dragon. There's a dragon here. Yeah, I think this is the Monoxy. I think that's what they are. And it makes sense, like, their eyes are, like, blue, just like the portals, right? So yeah, it's probably, like, modeled after them. So yeah, Glorfiak mines is probably where I would go second, but I don't really have a specific idea in mind of what to do there. I just kind of want to poke around there. And then the Scarliti Towers, the only thing I know about the Scarliti Towers right now is that there is a camera power system there, and I do not have a particular reason right now to want to use a camera power system. Like, I have no idea why I would want to use this camera power system. So, or even why I would want to look at cameras, you know, I don't know if they're going to be in the same place. Like, it logically makes sense that it would be that the camera power system would be in the same place where you watch the cameras, but that doesn't really, you know, mean much in a puzzle game like this. So was this to the thing I was thinking? I think it is. If I remember, I think there was one of those key slots here that I could put a key in. I might be wrong. Yeah, this icon that I still don't know. That does nothing. Okay. Can I use the key here? I'm right, there is an inventory thing here, but does this go here? No, this does not go here. So that's not the inventory item to use here. I don't know. Do I have anything else that can reasonably go there? Not that I have any particular reason to believe would fit here, so I guess we'll just continue. We'll just leave that still. and then up here I believe was that mine cart. Oh, right. We redirected power to the other door, didn't we? So we can't go here. Where did we do that? Did we do that in here? I believe we did that in here. Aha. Yeah, now it's going over there instead of to the mushrooms. We could honestly just leave it like that, because I think that our portals, it's a little bit of a roundabout walk, but I believe we can make it still to that area by going through the portals. I think so. Right, this had this room. Yeah, with this thing. The portal activation generator. Now, is that the thing that we turned on? I don't think it is. But maybe it is. Like when we opened up all the eye portals. Yeah, we tried a fuse here before, it didn't work. Now the Jalude, when he says that, that's one of the, that's one of the transporter things. Yeah, so this probably will not go anywhere. Yeah, no. So whatever's behind this portal is not accessible to us. This might actually go... Maybe it's a good thing that it is accessible, because maybe this goes onto the rails that just kind of fell into the ocean in the other place. It's the only other place I can think of where there's an eye portal that goes to rails. So maybe, it's for our own good this doesn't start, because we would just crash into the ocean. Though it does seem very much like, it's a puzzle we're meant to solve at some point, so I don't know, how's that going to work? Are we supposed to crash into the ocean there? I can't imagine that's a good thing to do, right? Or even what that would look like. I would have to imagine we would just drown if we did that, and the game wouldn't let us. Of course, the problem is I literally have no idea where that eye portal goes. It might go to that spot, but it might go to a completely different spot that has actual working rails. So where does this go again? Right. The Vandus zone. Oh, this is the building where we saw the dragons. Yeah, okay, this is a dead end to me right now. There's nothing to do here yet. Okay. Let's try and go back to Pinorvia Point, which was my original plan, but I just took a quick detour to note down some things, and I did find at least one, new thing. I found that, that salt note, the note that was hidden with the salts, that I just didn't see the salt that was just sitting there before. So I was really overcomplicating that one puzzle, thinking, you know, how am I going to age this salt? But no, it's literally just, there was some that was just sitting there. Yeah, I had some really, like, wild theories in mind for that. Like, maybe... This sunset is beautiful, by the way. Like, I was thinking maybe we're gonna have to, like, rotate the dome, and because that rotates every 2 hours, it's, like, gonna somehow manipulate time, like, move it forward. Which, you know, it's just ridiculous. But, like, you know, I was trying to think of anything. Like, how are we gonna manipulate time in this game? It is a pre-rendered game. Also, is there stuff to my left here? Hold on. There's something here. But I can't go over there? I can just look at this, and there's another portal there, but I can't click to go forward here? Huh. Okay, that's weird. But okay, let's go through here. There's stuff there. Can we get closer to that? Again, we have text here. I can decode this. I have a feeling the game is going to give me an item to decode this, but there's also a pattern on these pillars here. I don't know if that's important at all. It's like a triangle pattern again, but I don't know. Okay, let's see if we can do anything here, or if we're just going to walk up to the store and then it's going to be the end of it. And there's nothing that we can do here. Because that's quite possible, you know, that's how it goes in these games. Oh, we have a key slot. Okay, that's for the spare key. That's the small locks icon. Are we going to be finding small locks here? Hold on, what's that above the door? Can I turn over? Oh, I can turn 90 degrees here. Huh. There's a pathway there. This feels like a kind of similar environment to the Fezaltians Islands. It is very nice, though. Yeah, there's all these symbols up here. There's plant symbols. Those are the plant symbols that I have in my... Oh, they're all around this. They're all the way around this dome, actually. Huh. Okay. Don't know if that is going to be relevant. There's so many of them that it feels like they must just be decoration. They're not like an important puzzle element. But that tells me this building is something to do with plants. Hold on, can I open this door? No. Okay, you have to press the button to open the door using the key. Alright, sure. Oh, is this the temple? Is this the much, you know, the much talked about Ronaldus temple? I, the Leitrim of the Fezaltians clan, come before you at Pinorvia Point, within the walls of this main chambers, to greet and welcome the other members of the Fezaltians clan under the watch of this Fezaltian community. I am here to serve, guide, and protect the people of this Fezaltian under the light of the Pelskas. Today, I will aid the discussions relevant to strengthening our community, hearing the voice of our people, and helping to develop the harvesting and delivery of our paidas. In the name of Fezalta, in the name of Quananovic. Okay. Okay, that just brings me back to this view. Fezaltian knowledge. Oh, this is about the betrayal. Let these words of our land, our blood, keep on empowering our people to shine, to be the best we can be, and learn from our mistakes to make Fezalta a better world to live in. By the order of Lord Quananovik, I, Bellicane, one of the 4 rulers of Fezalta, do hereby share my knowledge of our Fezaltan ways. Galahanti, the Paleoltish clans and the betrayal. Oh, it's just this title in Galahanti. Got it. Each Falidian can generate a wealth of Paidas, natural pearls which grow deep underwater at certain locations of Feamor's vast oceans. Quananovik designed ways to harvest these pearls, once realizing the natural energies that could be extracted from them, powering various areas of Fezalta. The defenses we have against our enemies, though to the fuel required for various mechanical operations. However, one Falidian was the location for what was termed as the creation. The creation is performed by a specific set of individuals called Paleoltish clans, who are sent to Quan, far into the very heart of Fezalta, where they are trained by our Lord Quananovik, and I'm going to use clear text for this is just a little bit too dense for me to read. Where they are trained by our Lord Quananovik in molding the fresh Paida pearls. Specifically designed factories are built and equipped with a variety of mechanisms in which to aid the Paleoltish clans in generating the power for the Paidas to become operational. On Quan, the chosen members who make up the clans undergo vigorous training, sustaining immunity against a gas called Viofil, which gets stored in large tanks at the center of the factory buildings. Human-sized capsules are connected to these tanks, which the Paleoltish clan members are locked into. Adorned with masks to breathe in the Viofil, the Paleoltish clan enter a dreamlike state, likes of which are still left ambiguous to this day. However, speculation has led to the idea that in order to bear such power as bringing powerful energies to these natural resources on Feamor, there may very well be a connection to the very realm of the Thespis itself. I can't begin to imagine what this must do to one's mind. It's also important that only a very specific amount of viable gas is released into each capsule. An overdose of the gas is definitely fatal. Paleoltish members need to work together in order for the creation process to be successful. They need to be locked inside the capsules for half an hour, guarded by a Validian warrior who is usually specifically chosen to guard and protect each member of the Paleoltish clan. Once the process is completed, Paidas can be lowered down to a bottom level of the Paida factory, ready for collection. At this stage, the Paidas have been molded and shaped, coded and colored into the newly created Paidas, which provide power across Fezalta. Neyyah, or what used to be called the Blue Falidian, was a specifically designed Falidian, requiring the power of 5 Paleoltish clan members to power the Paidas. One particular Paleoltish clan member by the name of Cheruz Califricol oversaw the development of the Velatron, a machine designed to cleanse the Paidas so they were recharged and could be reused. He was very close to the 4 rulers of Fezalta and became obsessed with the Velatron and developing its capabilities. So this is interesting. I was under the impression that at some point during this game we're probably going to need to craft our own Paida, because we've seen the Paida factory, and it just made sense. I've not seen any orange Paida during this game, which we know we're probably going to need. But this sounds like it is a 4-person process to do. Basically, you get these 4 people, and it makes sense, right? Because in the Paida factory, there is that giant tech there, and it has 4 sides, and there's like 4 things you can step into, each of which has a mask. And so it's like you got these 4 people to step into these closets, right, and put these masks on. They would enter this dreamlike state, and this is a necessary thing for them to do. And when they did this, it would create a Paida So it sounds like it's a multiple-person process. I don't know that I'm going to be able to find more people to help me in the creation of a Paida. So maybe I'm just going to have to find that around. Maybe we'll never see that happen. I don't know. And then the Paidas, they're basically batteries, and the Velatron can be used to recharge the batteries. We know there is actually a Velatron machine. And so, okay. And he did, yeah, Vamir mentioned the Velatron machine in his transmission to me, along with the Orange Paida. So maybe it's like the Orange Paida is out of power, and we need to find the Velatron machine in order to recharge it. So we're going to find this Orange Paida at some point, or make it. I don't know, maybe we'll find people to make it. But it'll be out of power, and we're going to need the Velatron machine. I guess if it's out of power, like they must start with power usually, right? So if it's out of power, we're probably going to just find it around somewhere. And then we're going to need to find this Velatron machine to recharge the Paida. Okay, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write down a note. The note is... where am I going to write this note? Somewhere. The note is... Velatron machines recharge the power of Paidas. So, when I see Velatron, I should be thinking, battery recharger, right? That's what Velatron means. Okay, so over time, he betrayed the Beelcher's lands and the four rulers of Fezalta, insisting he would protect an ancient sea serpent on Feamor called an Eupoli. Instead, he would run experiments on them and other Fezaltians. Eopolites became the result of Eupoli and human transformations. These creatures served Charuz in one of the biggest battles ever fought in Fezalta. Charuz was bent on the idea of capturing the Velatron machine for what he termed as the next stage of his ascending. He believed he had the power of the Paida within him, the power of Feamor itself. Thus, a defense was made. Gun towers constructed on the edges of cliff edges, looking out across the open seas, and armed with various weapons to fight off any Eopolite attacks. It was the attack on the bridge to the Velatron Temple which led to the death of Hayan, one of the most acclaimed, well-known warriors of the Blue Felidian. Once he had died, Lord Juananovik desired the name, the Blue Felidian, should be changed to Hayan, named after this fearsome warrior who had died defending the Velatron machine. However, his family didn't want his name associated with what they would refer to as this place of death. While the Eopolites were eradicated and Charuz had fled far away to a place still unknown to this day, the Blue Felidian had become a heavy military base. A feeling of looming war rested in the air, and for a while this Felidian felt unsafe. Pelskas were told to be on high alert in their protection of all Felidians across Feamor, so, as a compromise, Juananovik decided on Neyyah as the new name for the Blue Felidian, a reflection of Hayan's name, imprinting his force, his memory, and his fierceness within the Felidian. The Velatron machine remains protected, now separated from the rest of Neyyah, and a portal built to link the temple back to the rest of the Felidian. Charuz Calapricol's location still remains a mystery. In the name of Fezalta, in the spirit of Hayan, Neyyah stands proud as one of the strongest fortified areas of Fezalta. Okay. I'm not sure, is that the same betrayal that Smollax was talking about? I mean, it must be, right? How many betrayals can there be? But it's strange, because it doesn't mention Aluche at all. This is just the same note that was on the other thing, right? Yes, it is. Same note.